Until Subin says he had something important to talk about. It was about his older sister. He asks what, and the guy says it's because she's in a situation that's not looking good. He's a bit confused and tells him to explain the details. He never stopped to think about it, but his sister really was a bit older than him, and then it clicks that yesterday Soan also took part in that creature test. The blonde turns around and asks what she's doing just standing there. She's a little confused, not saying anything in the woman's as if she doesn't know how to use a weapon or why she didn't use any ability. Mojin tells her to calm down and says she did her best to make sure everything went well. The blonde wants to argue, but turns around and says fine, then forget it. Off to the side, Soan apologizes, and Subin hears everything. He says it seems things worked out since Mojin handled it, but apparently Sonyeom is already being talked down in her class. The poor girl is thinking that just as expected, since that day she's been having trouble using magic. Jiggy Young had already warned that if she used her powers and got involved with that mess, she'd end up in the teacher's radar. She remembers the guy she killed, the fact that something happened 7 years ago with her father, and that whole cute thing no one lets her explain. All of that leaves her tired and confused about why school is so exhausting. Suddenly, she dozes off and wakes up some time later to see the class has already ended. She asks herself what kind of idiot sleeps an important class, but then notices someone else was next to her man. She sees Subin there, handing over the note she needed to copy. She thinks about stopping him, but remembers that he fought her brother. He gives her a hard stare, she gets startled, and runs off. She's on the stairs alone telling herself she's an idiot. When someone shows up behind her and asks why she's crying, "Man, who's this guy?" "Ah, right, it's the guy from the board game. Maybe he's a good person, I hope." He tells her not to be sad over something so silly and says he can show her the notes. She thanks him and he hits a bit awkward. The guy says just to follow him, but when they get to another room, Junal calls out to Unbai and tells her to show the notes to the girl. Sonyeom realizes that the bastard was pretending to be nice, but he hadn't taken any notes either. The girl, a little embarrassed, says that he warned the last time it would be the last time, but he's doing it again. He, however, says that actually it's a freshman who couldn't take notes and is asking her for help. Numbies are looking a bit awkward and Junal says he can't afford to fail this year. Until Sonyeom speaks up and says if she doesn't want to show them, then she doesn't have to. Asking someone to do something against their will is kind of wrong. Suddenly, Junal's expression changes and he says that with the way she's talking, she's making it sound like he's doing something bad. Without even knowing her properly, stepped away from what he was doing just to help her. So why is she acting like that? But Sonyeom just replies that she really does think it's something wrong. People in the back start laughing and she walks away saying she's leaving. But what the hell, man? The Limited grabs her arm and says she's not leaving like that. Apparently, she's really talented at making people look like fools. She tells him to let go, but he says she'll have to clear up that misunderstanding before she leaves. Until bam, Sonyeom smacks him right in the nose. With the hell, man, the whole room is shocked and Junal is stunned that he's bleeding, trying to understand how she managed to hurt his body. Was it some kind of ability? She says no and he says it's impossible. You have the body of a martial artist. Someone with her physical build shouldn't be able to do any damage. Then he says now it makes sense because she's a regressor. Obviously, he said it on purpose of the whole class we find out. Some start saying that if a girl with that kind of body to her a martial artist, she must have used an ability. Junal asks why all regressors are like this. Does using an ability on someone mean nothing to her? He charges at her saying he should have known since back on the boat, but suddenly something slams into his face, man. It seals Subin, saying he sure has a big mouth for someone acting unjustly. Junal asks who he thinks he is, and he just responds with his name, saying he's a freshman this year. Besides that, he's been watching everything from the start and hasn't seen Sonyeom use her ability even once. Junal says that's impossible. She had to use her ability. Otherwise, there's no way she could hurt him. And now he just realized Sabin used an ability too. But he just ignores what the fool said and says Junul should already know that regressors have extremely superior physical ability. And besides, no one in this room saw any kind of power being used, so it's clear she didn't use anything. In the end, he could have used it. He was the one who grabbed her arm first. Not to mention, he clearly exposed her secret on purpose and lunged at her. Compared to using an ability, his actions were way worse. Junul goes after him saying he's going to be up the scrawny kid. But man, out of nowhere, there's just a flash of light behind him. And he answers that he never runs from a fight. Strangely, some girls nearby raise his sign with his name out of nowhere. And Junul realizes he's about to get beat and embarrassed. Back in the cafeteria, he tells our boy that he understands he's trying to avoid his sister to protect her and not mess things up for her. But now that everyone knows she's a regressor, her life isn't going to be easy either way. Our boy puts his hand to his face and says he doesn't understand why, but things are never easy. Mr. takes a look, sees the sister, and asks who he's going to do. It's not like he has much power to help her either. Then, out of nowhere, Woojuan's right next to him saying that maybe he's away. It turns, asking when the crazy guy even showed up, and Woojuan says this instant ramen used to taste better. Back in the day, they were softer, tasted better, and had more meat. The old lady from the cafeteria was way more skilled. It's just a shame that accident happened. The two are still staring at him, not really understanding, and the blonde guy slaps the table saying he misses the old cafeteria lady. Subin wants to know what he's doing there. While Sumyun says that's not the important thing, he wants to know what Woojuan meant when he said there was a way to fix this. They turn and say what they need is to improve a reputation. If they started to be spoken more positively, for sure people would bother them less. Sumyun replies that it's easier said than done, and Woojuan says he has to get ready for the observation class in 2 weeks. Our boy asks what that is, and he explains that it's a match that'll happen between classes 90 and 91. All freshmen have to participate, and the ones who come to watch aren't the parents. No man, it's the top hunters in the entire industry, including members of the biggest guilds and the famous ones. The heads of corporations and all that, man. Everyone involved in the hunter world comes to see the freshman. Unfortunately for our boy, right, his dad is a hunter, so at the same time he has a dad. He also has a hunter, but he sees it as a great opportunity to improve his reputation. Subin, however, says that if you count the number of people, that's a lot. How is that even going to happen? The guy says that last year they were divided by student ID. If nothing changed, it'll be the same way. All he has to do is find a rank his student to train with and show what he's got. If our boy wanted, he could give him the name of a really weak kid. But man, as if that's what he wants. Woojuan's already kind of confused and sure that bastard wants to fight against a rank A or rank S sometime later in the library. He remembers that he talked to Ji Young and asked to take a look at student records. Obviously the guy said, right, man, that only teachers could see that. But the sneaky guy, it seems, handed him the card to deliver the welcome message to Ji Young. He went to check out the students and find out who the regressors in these classes were this year. He doesn't say so, but it looks like he found out who they are. And now the plan is to challenge them when the observation class begins. And then, when everyone is watching, he just has to use the chain to immobilize that person. Man, it's such an obvious and easy plan. No doubt it's going to go wrong. Scene change to another dorm. Junul is slamming the table, saying that damn Solian made him look like a fool. Miju wants to know what he's going to do. He says the perfect chance is at the observation class. He's going to show the kid who's boss. Miju laughs and says she's not too confident that the guy who ended up with a bloody nose from a slap is going to win. But she agrees with him that it's really easy to hate that Solian, and asks if he wants her to take care of it for him. Junil asks if she thinks she'll win and she says yes, definitely. But in exchange, he'll love her favor. Junil keeps insisting, saying her chances are low. The girls are regressor. But Miju just says that it's exactly because she's a regressor that it will be easier. And here we go with the time skip, folks. It's already 2 weeks later, and our boy is ready. He opens